After a very successful first season with Arsenal, where Denis Karo and Arsenal were crowned Premier League champions, and Karo was able to win his first league title since the MLS. A season where Karo and Arsenal became the Europa League champions for the first time in Arsenal's club history. A very successful season for Denis Karo indeed. And as Karo was parading around North London with the Premier League and the Europa League trophies at the front of the bus, when he saw those smiling Arsenal fans' faces, and when he looked at his trophy cabinet after one successful season in England, Karo knew the choice that he had to make. And that choice was to re-sign and extend my contract at Arsenal. I need to play in the Champions League with this club. I need to find some stability in my career. I've been moving around from club to club like I'm Ibrahimovic, and it's time to settle down. And what better way to settle down than to sign a €300,000 per week or £250,000 per week contract with Arsenal. And with that very lucrative contract comes a very beautiful signing bonus, which I'm going to immediately spend to add to my car collection. So you can see there we have the BMW that started it all. And here we have the Lamborghini Countach that gave Karo the inspiration to win the Premier League as well as the Europa League. A car that has become famous around North London. And the car we have added to our collection is this beautiful, sexy, green Ferrari. And as you can see there, we've added the Karo number 2 license plate to let everyone know who the hell is driving this fine vehicle. And yeah, we can sit here, stare at this car all day, or we can go and get behind the wheel and see what this car is all about. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. And Karo is just taking this new Ferrari out for a drive as he prepares for the start of the new season. As you all know, Karo's favorite way to relieve stress is to drive his exotic cars at high speeds. And of course, safety first, because we need to stay fit and healthy for the important matches this season, such as this match against Manchester United for the FA Community Shield. And of course, we want to get things kicked off for this season by winning a trophy against a Premier League rival such as Manchester United. And Bruno is just dribbling down the field as Karo just stares at him like an alien. And here's Karo skipping past Vermeeren and passing it to Saka. And Saka now taking it down the touchline, passing it to Watkins. Watkins able to find Karo. Denis Karo on the ball, having a shot. But Chevalier with the save. And here's Karo dribbling down the field. A great tackle by Vermeeren. And Bruno Fernandes threading it through to Saigankov, who has a shot and just hammers it into the far post. And a great shot by Saigankov, putting Manchester United up 1-0 against the Arsenal. A tremendous goal, I have to admit. And we find ourselves trailing 1-0. And here's Karo now on the ball. Has 3 defenders around him. A great pass to Roger Fernandes. And now Watkins turning with the ball, passing it through to Karo. And Karo makes some space, has a shot, and puts it into the back of the net for the very first time this season. And Karo putting himself on the score sheet, putting Arsenal back into this match. And once again reviving his chances to win the Community Shield. And Karo just pointing to the heavens as Arsenal find themselves 1-1 level with Manchester United. And here's Bruno with the cross. And De Ligt with a header off the corner post. And Partey with the clearance. And Saka turning with the ball. And Bukayo Saka passing it to Arnau, who finds Karo. Denis Karo assessing his options. Passing it to Saka. Karo making a run. Saka finding Karo. And Karo on the ball, having a shot into the far post and into the back of the net. And Karo into the driving seat he goes, along with Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, as they find themselves up 2-1 in this match. And now, Arsenal find themselves in control of this match after trailing. And here's Karo passing it to Rabiot. And Bukayo Saka sees the end of this match. Arsenal have beaten Manchester United 2-1 to lift the Community Shield. And you see Arteta shaking hands with Ten Hag. I don't know what's going on there. Ten Hag is back at Manchester United in this universe. And here, Arsenal are lifting the Community Shield in all its glory. One of the finest plates in European football right there. A beautiful trophy indeed. And Karo finds himself once again lifting another trophy for the Arsenal. And yeah, it may only be the Community Shield, but this is exactly how you want to start your season off, by winning any kind of trophy you can get your hands on. And look at the Arsenal fans. Very happy with their victory. Very happy to see their team winning the match against Manchester United and being crowned champions of the Community Shield. The perfect start to this season. And as we celebrate the victory in the Community Shield, Karo can take a look at his trophy cabinet, which has added that beautiful plate in the top right corner. And pretty soon we're gonna have to start redesigning this trophy cabinet because we're running out of space, baby. And that's exactly the kind of problem Karo wants to have in his life. And because we won the Europa League last season, we face off against the Champions League winners AC Milan in the UEFA Super Cup. And Morata passing it to Loftus-Cheek. And Salamakers dribbling the ball, trying to get past Karo, successfully doing so. Adli on the ball now. Adli passing it to Fofana, who finds Lewis. And Luka turning with the ball. Partey with a brilliant interception. And Saka finding Karo. And Karo with some skills, passing it to Zaire Emery. And Zaire Emery finding Karo. Karo dribbling with the ball, finding Yang Min-hyuk. Yang Min-hyuk lobbing it over to Karo. Karo settling it with his head. And now with his feet, having a shot, just wide it goes. And Karo almost intercepting the goal kick. Karo still applying defensive pressure. Fofana turning with the ball. Zaire Emery with a great interception, but Karo having a premature shot. Konate turning with the ball. Leon finding Karo, who finds Saka. Saka finding Karo. Karo doing brilliant to get past the defense. And Karo putting it on his left and into the back of the net. Milan do not know what hit him, as Arsenal find themselves up 1-0 in the 11th minute of this match. Christensen with a brilliant interception. Zaire Emery finding Yang Min-hyuk, who has acres of space on the left flank, cutting in, threading it through. Denis Karo finding the ball. And now Karo cutting in. Karo looking dangerous. Karo having a shot, but Mainan with the save. And here's Tamori crossing it in, Loftus-Cheek with the header, but Ederson there to collect. And Ederson kicking it into Rabiot. And now Roger Fernandez settling the ball, lobbing it over to Karo. Karo settling it with his chest. And Denis Karo assessing his options, cutting in, having a shot. Oh, wow, just over the post. And the match has come to an end, and Arsenal have won the UEFA Super Cup against the Champions League winners AC Milan. A very hard-fought 1-0 victory for the Gunners sees them lift their second trophy of the season, and we haven't even begun the Premier League campaign. So far, things are looking great for Arsenal in this upcoming season, as Denis Karo is preparing to lift the UEFA Super Cup for the first time in his career. I did not have that chance to do so after I left FC20 when we won the Europa League with them, but now we're lifting it with Arsenal, and it feels just as good as I thought it would. And Denis Karo celebrating his UEFA Super Cup victory along with his Arsenal teammates and the Arsenal fans. And look at those happy faces on the players. Look at those happy faces on the fans. A truly beautiful moment for Arsenal. and the team gathering to take their second picture with a trophy this season. And we are only in August. The season has just begun. And Arsenal have won the UEFA Super Cup. And taking a look at Karo's trophy cabinet, you can see I've made some room for the UEFA Super Cup down to the left, right next to my US Open Cup that I won with the Portland Timbers. And heading into match week 1 of the Premier League, we face off against Unai Emery's Aston Villa. And we are the traveling team, which means this is going to be a very tough fixture indeed.
Good evening.
And of course, Unai Emery has found himself reunited with Denis Ceballos. He just could not resist. And Yang Min-hyuk finding Zaire Emery, who lobs it over to Karo, and Karo settling with his foot and hammering it into the left side of the net. And Arsenal find themselves up 1-0 in this match. And Unai Emery finds himself having a bad evening as Arsenal have hit early.
Good evening.
And Gakpo lining up for a free kick. And Karo, who's picked up a little injury, laying down. And Gakpo with a shot just over the bar. And Saka with a brilliant pass to Karo. Karo turning with the ball, has an open shot, and Vias with the save. Saka crossing it to Karo. Karo settling it with his chest. Karo having a shot, and Zubamendi's there to clear it out. And here's Ceballos passing it right to Partey. Yang Min-hyuk finding Watkins, who's unable to find Karo. Partey with a great interception. Saka finding Karo. And now Karo on the ball, turning with the shot. And getting brought down. Ref! 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 Karo getting the ball once again. Getting past 1, past 2. Karo's a madman. He has a shot and puts the ball into the back of the net. And puts Arsenal up 2-0 in this match after hitting the gritty. And Karo with another tremendous goal to his tally. Watching Ceballos dribble with the ball. And Saka crossing it in. Karo settling it with his chest, turning with the ball, having a shot. And Vias with the save. And now Karo getting ready to cross this one in. And Karo lining it up. And Karo with the cross. And Gatti with the clearance. And here's Karo heading towards goal, passing it to Yang Min-hyuk, who finds Karo once again. Karo now. Still Karo. Unable to make anything happen. But it does not matter as the match has come to an end. And Arsenal pick up a very crucial 2-0 victory over Aston Villa. And with that victory, we find ourselves in second place in the Premier League after match week 1 with a total of 3 points. A perfect record for Arsenal to begin the Premier League. And heading into match week 2, we face off against Fulham. And here we have Ollie Watkins finding Zaire Emery, who finds Karo. And Karo passing it to Arnau, who finds Saka. And Saka passing it to Karo, who finds Zaire Emery. And Zaire Emery getting the ball back to Karo. Here's Karo with a fake shot, cutting back, passing it to Saka. Saka finding Watkins. Watkins unable to find Karo. Karo fighting for the ball. And Anderson unable to clear it out. Saka blocking the clearance. And Yang Min-hyuk unable to score. And Saka with an interception. Karo finding Yang Min-hyuk, who's unable to score again. Unai Lopez finding Ozo. Ozo passing it to Moukoko. And Moukoko with a long shot. Just wide. And here's Andreas Pereira on the ball, crossing it in. Andreas Pereira unable to find anyone. Arnau clearing it out. Saka trying to get it to Karo, unable to. Karo with a great tackle. And now Watkins sending Karo through. And Dennis Karo has a moment to assess his options. And his option is to go to goal. And Karo cutting in, having a shot. And Mendy with a great save. And Yang Min-hyuk having a shot after Watkins finds him. And Yang Min-hyuk finding himself on the score sheet after putting Arsenal up 1-0. A tremendous goal by Yang Min-hyuk. Arsenal up 1-0. And here's Karo with an interception. And now Karo dribbling through. Denis Karo on the ball. Denis Karo with a brilliant bit of skill, cutting in, having a shot, and just curling it into the back of the net like he's Lionel Messi. A brilliant goal by Karo. And Arsenal up 2-0 in this match. And Arsenal with a 2-0 lead heading into the second half. And here's Karo on the ball, passing it to Watkins, who finds Karo once again. Denis Karo passing it to Yang Min-hyuk. Yang Min-hyuk back to Karo. Karo with a curling shot, and Mendy with a great save. And here's Saka with a brilliant pass, finding Roger Fernandez. Roger Fernandez having a shot, and Mendy with a great save. And here's Ozo passing it to Zaire Emery. Zaire Emery finding Karo, who finds Saka, and Saka unable to score. And Karo applying defensive pressure as the match comes to an end, and Arsenal pick up another crucial 2-0 victory in the Premier League. And with that victory, Arsenal find themselves heading to the top of the Premier League table with a total of 6 points and a goal difference of 4. We still have yet to concede a goal in the Premier League, so I'd say we're off to a great start. And heading into match week 3, yet another very difficult match for Arsenal. West Ham away. The match that always seems to derail Arsenal's season year after year. And here's Karo collecting the ball and passing it to Yang Min-hyuk, whose pass is intercepted. Yang Min-hyuk doing well to get the ball back and get it to Karo now. And Karo on the ball, playing with the defense, crossing it in. Saka's there to head it, but it goes wide. And here's Karo now, dribbling through, cutting in. Karo on the ball still. Denis Karo sliding and passing it to Saka. And Partey finding Saka. Saka cutting back, passing it to Karo. Karo on the ball now. Denis Karo passing it to Bukayo Saka. And now Karo cutting in, cutting out. Karo cutting back in, passing it to Ollie Watkins, who just hammers it into the net. And it puts Arsenal up 1-0 in the 35th minute of the match, and does this signature run to Mikel Arteta. And Arsenal find themselves up 1-0 against the Hammers. And here we have Earthy passing the ball to DePaul. Nusa passing right to Arnau. Karo finding Truffert. And Nusa on the ball once again, finding Earthy. Earthy threading it through, and Gyökeres with a shot, and Gyökeres hammering it into the top bins. And Victor Gyökeres putting the Hammers back into this match, leveling the score 1-1. And here's Karo looking to shut that down immediately. And Karo with some skill, passing it to Saka. Saka back to Karo. And here's Karo on the ball, cutting in, past the defense, smashing it just wide. Karo with the cross, Arnau with the header. Earthy with the clearance. And Nusa dribbling the ball. Nusa on the ball still. Nusa cutting in, getting past Karo. Nusa finding Gyökeres, who has a shot, and Gyökeres once again with another shot. And McGinn passing to Kudus. And West Ham with the cross, with the last kick of the match. And Ederson collecting the ball. And Arsenal find themselves dropping points and drawing against West Ham. And with that draw, we find ourselves falling down to 3rd place in the Premier League with a total of 7 points. Nottingham Forest find themselves in 1st place with a total of 9 points, and Man City are in 2nd with a total of 7 points. And as we turn our attention to the Euro Cup qualifiers, the Netherlands face off against Wales. And here's Karo getting the ball from Bakker, and Karo just popping the ball up and immediately heading towards goal. And Karo now in the mood to play around with his defense, having a long shot, in Karo making the keeper look at it. Not work for it, but just look at it. And De Ligt passing to Karo. Karo turning with the ball. Denis Karo on the ball still. And Karo is just running through the field. Not a single defender wants to challenge Karo. And Karo getting past the defense with ease, having a shot and putting it into the back of the net. And the Dutch are up 1-0 in this match against Wales. And here's Taylor passing to James and Levitt. And Weifer passing it to Karo. Denis Karo on the ball now. Passing it to Frimpong. And Frimpong finding Karo immediately. And here's Karo cutting in. Karo through the defense he goes. Has another shot and puts it into the back of the net for a second time. And look at this man. Looking happy as ever. He loves to score himself a goal. And he's got himself 2 in this match as the Dutch take a 2-0 lead right before the first half comes to an end. And Timber passing it to Karo. Karo now unable to find Backer. Backer finding Karo. And Karo now through on goal, having a shot and chipping it over the keeper and putting the keeper on a poster. Denis Karo getting a tremendous goal to complete his hat trick and put the Dutch up 3-0 in this match. And here's Karo now receiving the ball. Getting past the defense once again with ease. And Karo with another chip. No way! And Xavi Simons stealing the goal. What an absolute prick, because that was mine. But you know what? He can have it. But I'm kind of pissed because that would have been a tremendous 4th goal. Back-to-back chips. But Xavi Simons had other ideas. And here's Xavi Simons finding Karo. And Karo with a shot. And Ward with another save. And Beck clearing it out. And Frankie de Jong heading it to Karo. But the match has come to an end. And the Netherlands picking up a 4-0 victory, which puts them at the top of the qualification table. And as you can see, we're tied with England on 13 points, but we're doing very well. And we do face off against England in the next match. And as we take a look at the Premier League table, we find ourselves in 3rd place with a total of 7 points, with a record of 2 wins, 1 draw, and 0 losses. It's been a very difficult start to the season, but can we defend our Premier League title? Only time will tell. And taking another look at Karo's trophy cabinet after his victory in the Community Shield as well as the UEFA Super Cup, you can see that space is running out and we're gonna have to renovate the trophy cabinet real soon. And as we wrap up today's episode, we can have a look at what's to come in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. This has been Dennis from Clowning Wall Gaming. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And most importantly, have yourself a great rest of your day.